Hello everyone, and welcome to my universe. So, let's see. I actually do have a few things I want to fix on the face, and then of course I want to actually finish all of the science I have planned for the braid, and try out a bunch of things there. But you know what? Last time I promised myself I would do the silly neck thing first, because I have trouble with cloth patterns that do things like that. And I wanted a fresh brain for it. And I could keep running away from it and just, go do fun stuff that I want to fix on the face and the hair and, all those nice things. But no, I'm gonna go do the neck thing because I said so. So let's go do that ridiculous neck thing. Oh boy. And I immediately look at it and I'm just like, oh no. I don't know what it is that I find so hard. Hello there, Blood Bullet. Welcome back. And I don't know what I find so difficult about those kind of things, but I sure do. So, I'll go ahead and start without the black frilly part. Do that a little bit. And I'm just gonna figure out how this thing should actually work. So, when I look at this, I actually think it should go up and wrap around her neck a little bit more, so I think the first thing I want to do, actually, before I get into all of that, is fix her neck. Because I want to make sure that this is wrapping around her neck properly. So I hate this color. I hate it a lot. I should probably fix it before I do anything else, so I'm going to just do some basic hue saturation here. I don't feel like digging around and messing with colors here. I think I just wanted a little redder. And of course, making it redder will turn it purple. So that's okay. Purple's a great color. Just trying to find the right balance here. And I realize I'm messing up the color on the gloves too, because these are all in the same layer, but it's fine. I'll fix it in a little bit. I just want to get that color to be better, because I don't like the current one. It's not dark enough. Okay, I think that's probably okay. So I'll take the color, and then... Oh, I have a soft brush selected right now. Let's not use the airbrush to try to plop down color. Alright, and then I want it to connect into her shoulders a little bit better. So let's get that kind of going behind her ear here. A little bit, it's going to be a little bit curved since her head is tilted back a little bit. But I should be a little bit more deliberate about that, and I realize now that I have the collar of her suit going back there like this. So, I should adjust that. Where are you? Can I get away with turning off that layer for a second? I think I can. Once I find it. I have to go hunting every time I want to make a change. It's fine. I put it all the way up there. Well, that is also fine, I think, so... Alright. So now there should be nothing stopping me from connecting her neck into her shoulders. Yep, I have access to everything now. I think I'll hide the braid for a little bit too, just so I can see what I am doing. Collapse that for a little bit. There we go. Very important to actually be able to see what you're doing. Let me think. So when your head is tilted back like that, I am just kind of feeling it out in my own body. This part gets very straight. But my head isn't tilted back that strongly, or her head isn't tilted back that strongly. So I don't think I completely give up that curve, and I don't think I put a huge pinch right there, like I was trying to do at first. Let's, moderate that a little bit. And it's gonna kind of become her shoulders right around here. This will end up being covered, but I want to make sure I have the shape right. Her neck feels a little bit thick there, so... I think that was my struggle for a while. Just when... How do I say this? So when you're simplifying faces and stuff, the balance between head and body gets a little bit weird because, you know, the eyes are big and everything is simpler, so you can often make the shoulders a little bit narrower and various things like this. And it'll look a bit weird if you don't make the neck a little bit thinner with that. So I'm used to having a thinner necks, but I have more detail in the face this time. So having a neck that's too thin will actually be kind of bad here. But I think this is a pretty solid balance. Still kind of connects up into the ear, it's just covered by hair there. Can't really see the hair right now, but that's fine. You don't need to. It's not really important right now. And I think that level of bend in the neck is probably fine. Let's see, where exactly is the bend in my neck here? I'm just feeling it. It's like right... There's one little bit of my spine that I can feel. A really strong vertebrae kind of up where the neck connects to the shoulders. That's the one I'm feeling right now. And that's where I feel most of the bend. So if anything, I think it should be a little bit lower. This might actually mean her neck is a little bit too long. I think it's fine. Okay, I just want to smooth out that edge real quick. It's not that rough, but it's just rough enough to annoy me. So, there you go. Okay, and now I can turn all my layers back on. And I think that's a little bit more balanced. I will hold off on putting any proper shading on that until the neck thing is on there properly. Okay. And then I just make sure that nothing overlaps the neck in a weird way. Like no, this is correct. Okay. The hair threw me off a little. But no, this is correct. Okay. So there we go. Now I have a proper neck, and I can start drawing the neck thing around it. I'm scared. Okay, well, let's go. Nothing to do other than just draw it. So the way I pictured it wrapping around the neck, I actually pictured this being kind of connected to it, so I might actually have this too low. I might need to move it up a bit. That's fine. We'll see how I feel about it after I have it drawn, but I wanted it to be just a little bit above, you know, that big vertebrae that I was talking about when I was feeling out the back of my neck there. I wanted it a little bit above that, so it's not quite at the base of her neck, it's a little bit higher up. So that's where I'll put it. I just want to get the shape down right now, so I'm not going to worry about shading at the moment. Nor am I going to try too hard to make it super pretty. I want it to be a little thicker than this, I think. So yeah, this tells me I'm probably going to have to move this up a little bit. Because they're all supposed to be kind of connected. And I just put it too low. Unfortunate, but that's okay. So, let me think about where I actually want this to be. I don't want it to be, like, right on it here. I want it to be over where, you know, this dangly cloth bit comes out. So that would be, like, right about here, I think. You know, actually probably doesn't work. She will stab herself if she tries to put her head down with this on. You know, maybe I didn't think about that. I suppose I do not want her to accidentally decapitate herself. That would be unfortunate. So, maybe it is fine being a little bit lower than I was initially anticipating. Let's put it back. How would that change how it wraps around her neck? Because initially I was, you know, planning on something like this. It goes around her neck, then you get the little bit that kind of comes out like this. I'm on the wrong layer. It's fine. But yeah, a little bit that kind of comes out like this, and then it's all kind of tucked in, and then it folds out And we get something, you know, like this. Or this kind of comes out a bit, and then you have all this cloth there. So that's what I was initially picturing. Should I change it? I gotta think about that for just a second. Do I change this? So that this way I can have this connect at the correct place. Where would it have to be if I wanted to do that? Let's try moving it down. It'd be right about here. You know, I think this still looks okay. I have to change the shape here, but yeah, sure. I'll move it down a little. Okay. Oh, you see, this is why I wanted to make sure I had it wrapping around her neck before I did something silly. Fashion! Alright! But yeah, I really do want this to be connected to the neck thing and the cape. They're all supposed to be together. And I think I prefer that than having the neck thing to be completely separate with the cape kind of living over it. I think I like them all connected like this still. So I'll just thicken up the collar part a bit. We'll have it go a little bit lower. And I'll just have it kind of dip a bit more. So that'll mean that this top part dips down a bit more. And it becomes that kind of collar instead of the kind I had before. And you know what? I think I am okay with this. It's a little tangenty with the brooch right now. I can fix that though. All I need to do is find a few of those gaps in there and make sure that I have a little bit of my neck color showing through that. And then I think how this is shaped should gradually become clear. There we go. So yeah, now this is connected to it a bit better. I do not have this quite centered, so let's fix that. There we go. And a little more. I want it to be a little bit lower here, just so we actually see the connecting point. I'll move this up a little bit more. Okay. There we go. Now I feel like it is on her neck. And I think that this looks okay. And then it's all being pinched together via rose brooch here. I'll call it rose just because I don't remember what this flower is actually called. Okay. Yeah, I think that looks fine. So, now I want to kind of perfect how this is sitting on her chest. I think where I have the general lines are fine. I think it all seems fine enough. So, let's see here. I just want it to kind of come down a bit. I want this to sit. Oh, thank you. I worked very hard on designing her. Are we talking my VTuber model or the character I'm drawing here? Okay. I see. Well, thank you. Like I said, I worked quite hard on putting everything together. I drew and rigged the whole thing myself. Okay. There we go. I think I've got this sitting on there, but yeah, it's always nice when people appreciate all the work that went into it, because man, did it take me a while to be able to put all this together. Okay, I don't think it really starts bending too much that high. So I'm just gonna gradually squish some of this around. And I think I want to pull this side out just a little bit more here. This part too. Gonna send it just a little bit further to the left and let it kind of drape. Okay. There we go. And I just want to fill in these gaps because they're bothering me. And maybe I'm procrastinating a little bit from figuring out the dreaded neck thing, but I don't think I can procrastinate anymore. Not unless I just decide, hey, I want to go adjust the face and finish off the rest of her hair. But I'm being good, and I'm doing the thing that is scary first. While my brain has the energy to handle it. Art philosophy right there. See, when it comes to early in the drawing session, I do one of two things. If I am, like, super hyped on drawing, I am just ready to go. Oh, and welcome back, Blood Bullet. Just ready to go. Okay, we do the hard thing. And my day's been alright. But yeah, if I'm ready to go, I go do the hard thing. And I am ready to go today, so let's go do the hard thing. And then after that, when my brain is tired, I can go and do some easier things. Yes. I personally find it to be a very effective strategy. Okay. I'm gonna lighten up this side here. I think this entire bit can just be in shadow since it's under the cape anyway. And you know, it's nice since the cape's not fully rendered. It is just... I've got it defined. So this is as far as it's gonna be until I finish the clothes and fully render everything like I've done with the face here. But for now, just gonna have the basics in there. I probably shouldn't be doing cast shadows yet, actually. Oh, that's fine. I could do a few. I can get the big ones. I don't think I want to shade that spot. That part's gonna be very well lit from this part back there. I think this part will be a little bit darker, but maybe not that dark. Oh, thank you. Yes, it's a fan character design. Katya is fantastic, but I do think her character design is also pretty fantastic, but I wanted to design something. So I did. But thank you very much. I've been having a really great time drawing it. Been trying lots of new things. Science has been effective so far, and I've been very happy to try it all. Okay, so I think this part will show under here a little bit. Where does this piece actually connect? You know, I should figure that out. So... allow Planckera EXE to load a bit here because these kinds of cloth patterns always break my brain for some reason. I don't know why. I'm gonna do this side while I think about it, but you know, where they kind of... oh, I do have the layer locked, but yeah, where they kind of zigzag a little bit like this, you know? For some reason, it just always breaks my brain. So I need to think about it for a second and how they actually all connect with each other. So, I picture this in my head as a square cloth being dragged by a corner. So, yeah, I had my first game dev stream on Thursday. So, VOD is still up there if that's something you want to see. Here, let me talk my way through this here, and then I will, I'll talk about that a little bit more. So yeah, I picture it square cloth being pulled from one of the corners. So I will shape it like that. We're pulling it up there, where then the rest of it will then hang. And sorry, I just need to talk through this so I can actually draw it. So it'll start coming down there, and then this corner won't come out here. It'll just flop down. Something like that. So that's the floppy. And then, depending on length of the cloth, it'll kind of curve inward. And then it'll end. And then we'll get the next one kind of curving. Curving. It's symmetrical. And we get something like that. And then... So this bit will be connecting to up here. And it'll probably come down something like this. And then we'll get another piece kind of going underneath here. Okay, so that means that this would be light, and then it would curve around into that. And then this part would be light. Okay, I think I understand. So now I can actually talk about how the things are going. Look, you know, sometimes just taking it out of context where you don't have other perspective and how it's draping over the rest of her body and stuff can be helpful. I have a few more folds than that. I think this side looks better than this side. So... Okay, so this is when we start seeing certain parts again. Okay, I can talk about how things are going now. So, yes, there was a game dev stream last Thursday. There will be another one next Thursday. And, you know, so far so good. I have a character that can run and jump and stuff. So, you know, the basics are there. Okay, how does this turn? That's a good question. Does it go from this side? Like I said, these kinds of patterns always break my brain. Anyway, novel writing, I haven't really been making much progress, and I've been spinning my wheels, and yes, it is Godot. Of course I'm gonna take the open source option. Always. But... So I've been kind of spinning my wheels on it for a bit, so I decided I'm taking a break and I'm, reading. So I read a couple of visual novels since I'm doing something adjacent to that, but I'm also reading, real books, too. Lately, I've been reading Past Watch by Orson Scott Card. About halfway through it. Pretty good. Been having a good time. Alternate history stuff is interesting. And as for VNs, I read the Zero Escape series, and I'm in the process of going through Fate's Day Night. I've finished the first round, now I'm going through Unlimited Blade Works. Just started that, yesterday. So, you know, there's been a few. So, for the time being, I'm just taking a break from flailing, and I am reading stuff and seeing if that helps me figure it out. Because, you know, art is hard, and sometimes seeing what other people do is extremely useful when you're stuck. But I'm not concerned. I think I'll be able to figure it out. I've already had some insight just from reading things. Oh, nice. Godot's great. I'd have a great time with it. I'm always glad that projects like this exist. Open source projects, that is. Just, you know, make it so people can just go do stuff, or remove some of the barrier to entry. It's fantastic. So I wish you luck on your endeavors. No, this should be shorter. Okay. I think, you know, once again, I'm understanding things a little bit better. So... and we get a little part curling down into this, and I don't think this makes sense right now, but I'm hopeful that it will in a little bit. So we have this, and then we'll have this one coming up here a bit. No, I don't think that's quite right. Is it? It all comes from up here. Let's get some pink. Let's break out the hot pink and see if it helps me figure it out. See, this is why I wanted to do this first. GD script? Yes. I'm just using Godot's built-in language. I haven't felt the need to, like, import C# or something. I've worked with C# before, but... honestly, I think it's to convince people within their studio to use Godot instead of, like, Unity or something. So, I'm pretty sure that's why it's there. There's absolutely nothing wrong with GD script. But, you know, it can be hard when you have to convince other people to do something. And using a language that they're familiar with is a reasonable compromise, I think. Okay, no, I'm onto something here. I just have to... I'm gonna hide the cape and the brooch for a second. And I guess the flower too, just so I can see all of this and get an idea of how it's all connecting. So here is where they're all kind of coming together. And, okay, so this is how I have it structured. I didn't draw a lot of the other parts because they were all covered up, which, you know, normal for me. So let's get this spidering out a bit. See if I can understand. Understand what it is that I'm trying to do here. Yeah, because some of these I think are going to go behind, actually. Okay. I'm gonna put all the layers back on, and... let's see. Oh, where's the flower? I should turn that back on, too. There's the flower. So this is just what I like to do when I feel a little bit stuck somewhere. Of when you understand how the structure of something is, you can kind of start piecing together where things should go. And I do think I have it correct that things flow from the middle, and that I shouldn't have a little thing connecting over there. It's all connected over here. And this is just the end of the cloth. And I'm gonna take a look. Actually, I'm gonna use my off-stream reference, but this is somewhat based on... I guess I'll scroll over just to... so you guys can see what I'm talking about. It's somewhat based on the one in her actual character design. Mine is a little poofier and fancier, but... I wanted to keep something like that there on this one. So, let's see. Let me see if I can find a good one. And I just want to look at the way the cloth folds on hers. Another thing that's useful to do. Normally I'd like to find a photo reference, but frankly I don't even know what to search for to bring that up. Weird neck thing would probably not get me the results I'm looking for, and I'm a little bit afraid to even go about searching for something like that. So I'm not going to. Nope, not going to at all. So I'm just gonna reference hers. It's not exactly the same, but it's close. So I think I can use it as an approximation. And it's always so funny to me because I know that with the way normal people draw and are able to see things, I just always see them, you know, do they do the squiggly line, and then all they do is play connect the dots, and it looks fantastic. But it never works for me for some reason. God, I wish I could just play connect the dots. Wouldn't that be great? So, I don't know why I can never quite get it to work for me, but I have never been able to, legitimately. Because I've got my squiggly lines here, and I think they all look okay. They are sufficiently squiggling, but for whatever reason, when I try to connect the dots, art.exe just shuts down completely, and I can't see it anymore. It's bizarre. Because trust me, I have tried many a times. I even did it for this one specifically, to try to make it make sense to me, but it just doesn't work, and I don't understand. So I have to try to understand in a different way. And right now I'm just trying to get some of these little pleats here to look a little bit more like they're sitting on her body. So for the ones sitting on her chest, I kind of want them to fold upward a bit more so we see a little bit more of them. So this way it looks a little bit like they're sitting, like it's sitting on the chest. Whereas the ones further down, I want to keep much flatter because they're supposed to be hanging. They're supposed to be hanging down a bit more. So I'll add a little bit more wiggle to them because when cloth hangs, it wiggles a little bit. So I'm gonna go for that kind of thing. And see if that kind of will help or something. I don't know. There are many things I don't know, and you know what? It's alright. Because I am patient. Maybe patient is the wrong word, but I am not prone to giving up on things. So, I know that as long as I keep flailing, someday I will flail in the right direction, and everything will make sense to me. Like, I think this side looks alright. I think this side looks pretty okay. I will still, flip it open just a little. This guy can be flatter. Kind of roll this way, I think. So I'm gonna let him kind of come down a bit more. And I want to do the same thing with the shadows I have in the middle here. And like I said, I'm feeling better about this side than I am this side. So I'm gonna start with the side I'm feeling a little bit better at and hope that maybe figuring it out will give me a few clues as to what I should do on the other side. Anyway, just gonna adjust the folds here. I don't think these ones need to be switched up, but this guy in particular, I wanted him to hang down a bit. So there we go, and okay. So I'll connect this guy up into here. Add a little fold in there because it makes me happy. I think I can do these kinds of folds for this. I think it's okay. Now, how do these two connect? Because if I have a singular cloth being pulled at a corner, basically, that's what I'm picturing in my head. They do connect somewhere. Do they connect this way? Am I wrong? I keep wanting to do something like that. Where would it come down if that's how it connected? No, I don't think that's right. I think the way I have it here is okay. And then we probably do see a little bit of the fold that kind of rolls back, but I think it comes up. And then we get something like this. I'll just put a light there for now. It doesn't make sense to have that there, but it makes it easy for me to see. So I'll roll with that. And then I think the same thing happens here. Where just because this is kind of flipped up a little bit, we see a little bit underneath there. So once again, I'm just gonna put a line there. That doesn't really make much sense, but helps me see. And here, I don't think we really see it because this one is flipped more downward, so I won't draw it there. Okay, and I think something similar happens on this side, where we get just a little bit rolling back in, since it is kind of flipped up a little bit. This one is still flipped up a bit, so I'll draw the bottom there. Okay, that seems alright. Now I just gotta figure out how this corner connects. So we got a little bit coming up there. How does it roll into the next pleat? I really gotta figure out what these things are called. It'd be so much easier if I could look up some photo reference right now. If any of you know, let me know so I can go look it up. Okay, I'll flip this one up a little bit more, but I think I'm getting somewhere here. Unfortunately now, this side doesn't really look like this side. I like this side more now. So let's make this side frillier. Okay, so how do I make this side frillier? Because the way I was picturing it in my head, I think I just have the layers reversed here. Because when I was initially picturing it in my head, I thought that as she turned further this way, so as her body rotated around like this, that it would move the frills in such a way that the top ones appeared to be behind everything, but I don't think that's actually true. So I think what I want to do is start reintroducing these guys. So I'll do it in shadow first, just because that is easier. At least for my head. And then I can worry about putting the light parts back on, and they should be flipped up. That's important. They gotta flip up. But yeah, there we go. I think that's working. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm getting somewhere here. So then this one will be on top. And it'll kind of come out through like this. Okay, so the sides were just contradictory, and that's all that was bothering me the whole time. Okay, cool. See, you just gotta find a thread to pull on and keep pulling it until it comes loose. You just gotta be annoying. Okay. There we go. There's a neck thing. So I'll get the black part now and see if I can make that look good. Okay, so all I'm really gonna do... I think over here still looks okay. I think this is all fine. But I just gotta do the same thing over here. I'll do it all light for now. And let's see, how do you kind of fold around? So you're gonna have a dark spot over there. And I think it just keeps going. Okay. Little guy right there. And I don't want him to stick out quite so much. Then we get the black spot here. And then just the bit at the bottom here. There we go, that looks fine. Okay. I'm gonna roll with this, and I guess I'll start... Well, I can't really start with the frills. I gotta get this part right before I can put the frills on top, because otherwise it's gonna look weird, especially since I might have some translucency in the frills. So yeah, let's just smooth this out as much as I want to for now, and then, you know, I can go do some fun stuff, like mess around with the face some more, or finish off all the hair and all that good stuff. Okay, that wasn't so bad. You know, it never is. It really never is. Everything's fine. Brain always makes it seem way scarier than it actually is. It's just what brains do. They're very silly things. And, you know, they just lie all the time. It's very rude, but when it comes down to it, they're just doing their best, so don't worry about it. Anyway, I'm gonna hold off on too many cast shadows from a lot of, small things for now. Let me see, do I have dark whites? I do, of course I do, because it's on the hair. I'm pretty sure I'm actually using the same colors here. Okay, I'm gonna hide some layers, some of my gradient layers on the hair for a little bit. Just so I can get some accurate colors here. There we go. That should give me nice colors to choose from for whatever I want them for. Okay, so I'm gonna... Oh, that is... I already have the darkest there. Fascinating. I would like a little bit of a darker one. Do I really have nothing darker? Like, is that really the darkest through here, too? It sure is. Okay, what are some of my more middling shadows, like this guy, perhaps? Did I just grab the wrong color or something? No, I got the right one. Okay, so... That was a lot of talking to myself, but basically all I'm saying is that for some of these shadows, I think I want to use this, one that's slightly more of a mid-tone. So, maybe like this. And then where it gets all pinched together, kind of down these, I'll use the dark one. But for just the basic cast shadow here, I'm gonna make it just a little bit lighter. So that this way I can save the darkest one for these back spots here and for these tight folds down the middle. And even the tight folds down the middle I might still lighten up. I haven't decided yet. But there we go. That should make it a little bit easier for me to understand certain things. So now I can use the darkest shadow for only these back spots here as I clean it up. And I hope that makes it a little bit easier for me to read. Here's hoping. Let's see, how are you gonna roll up into things? Like this, I think. Okay. I think I have this guy sticking out a little bit more than I want him to, actually. So I'm going to erase a little bit. I don't mind things getting a little bit ambiguous behind that flower. So let's see. I don't want it to overlap with this little guy, though, with this little stem. So I'm going to just erase the corner out just a little. Just to make it obvious where one is and where the other is. Let's just have them be separate entities a little bit more. I always find that such things look a little bit nicer. Okay, this one we should still see underneath, so I'll add a little underneath spot here. But he doesn't flip up quite as much. He flips up a little, though. And at least for the time being, I'm mostly focused on the outside. Just going over things and making sure that everything is nice and smooth so that this way I can lock the layer and then I don't have to worry about anything ever again, and it's fantastic. I like not being able to worry about things. It makes my life so much easier. So I just like to handle that. I think for a lot of people, they handle it via flat colors and whatnot, but I would not call my process normal, so it's all good. Nothing about this is normal. And then anywhere where I'm slightly confused on structural things, I will adjust a little bit there, just to make sure I'm doing things right. That's pretty important. There we go. I think this all looks okay. At the very least, I think I can convince the people looking at my picture that it's right, so that's a good place to start. Okay. At some point, it would be nice to study this kind of cloth a little bit better, just so it stops breaking my brain every time I try to draw it. I do seem to draw it a fair amount, so it seems like, you know, someday, as long as I keep drawing it, I'll eventually figure it all out, but I don't know. It'd be nice to know. It would be. Okay. So I think that covered most of the holes that I saw. And then we'll have, you know, one more little guy kind of doing a little thing like that, and do a little dance. And then it just all kind of comes down into this. I do think I will center this just a little bit more. I know it's draping, but I think I pushed it a little bit too hard to the side. Okay. So now I can lock the layer, and it's time to get all the colors just right. So I will plop a few highlights in a few places, like over here on the neck. I really kind of want one over here too. I don't want to go too hard on this one though, because for one, part of the cape is going to be blocking the light from getting there well, and for two, I kind of want to keep at least a little bit of a cast shadow from this thing. And I think for this, I should actually keep middling shadows, as opposed to the great ones. And I will actually be trying to get things smooth at this point. This is when everything just has to kind of be reaching its final form. Okay. I'm not gonna worry about cast shadows from these guys yet. That seems hard at the moment. I just want to figure out how these frills work. Good luck, me. I will need it. I don't actually think there's going to be any highlighted areas on these guys, because, like, the light is over here. It's behind her. She's backlit. So I think I'm just going to keep all of those dark. And then I'll add just a slight difference in the light here with these guys. So I'm hopeful that just a little bit of extra shadow here will make them look a little rounder. And I'm sure at some point I'll be going back over things again and making things all look a little bit nicer here. But I'm saving. So way earlier in the process, I did a lot of stuff to smooth out the hair and do nice things with it. And I do plan to do similar things with the clothes and the rest of her body. But I want to do it at the very end when I just have the basics down. I don't want to do any hardcore science until everything else is done because blanket is caught on something. But I feel like if I do it piece by piece, I'm gonna lose the plot basically, and I won't have a good big picture on things. I'm sure I'll still be doing things individually, section by section, to an extent. But I think it'll just be easier to do that once I can see it. Once I can see the whole thing. And right now I just, I can't do that because it's not done. It's not ready. But someday it will be. And then I can do just all the pretty things. I look forward to that day. But for now, simple things. Very, very simple things. And for the time being, I'm not going to try to force smoothness. I was willing to do it up here because up here is very straightforward. I'm not at all concerned about this little bit wrapping around her neck. It's all good. But down here, things are getting complicated. So I want to get the basics of how all this is structured before I get into all of the complexity, because, doing it too fast will absolutely just wreck my brain, and, I don't need to do that. It's okay. Having an intact brain makes it easier to draw. Okay, so I changed my mind on the color there. I think this amount of contrast is fine. And you see, this is exactly why I'm doing some of these things first. Just so this way I know where things are gonna go. Initially, I thought that having the strong cast shadows would be nice, but I think it's actually a little bit too much. I really had no idea at how bad some of the bot problems were on Twitch. I never got bots before this. I guess it helps that YouTube doesn't allow people to post links. I also find it wild that there's a market out there to buy viewership, basically. Oh, man. Like, I get it. I do. It's rough out there. I still think it's kind of crazy. Now I'm always gonna be suspicious of, you know, just how many of my viewers are bots that are trying to sell me something. Oh, man. Okay. So I am saving that dark color for these little parts that are just kind of wrapping around things. And I think this is working. And also for the darkest parts out in the middle here. Where everything is really squishing together. I think it's working. I think it's working great, actually. And I think I can afford to let the shadows be a little bit ambiguous in some places. It's a technique that I personally rather enjoy in my art. I use it often, especially when I am hardcore simplifying things. I'm not really doing that here, so I'm trying to be a little bit more particular about things. But, for the most part, I am indeed trying to simplify things somewhat. I do think it makes things look better overall. Although maybe that's just because I like minimalist art, but... With the way your brain actually sees light and shadow, it actually does make sense to let things kind of get lost in the shadows. Yeah, it does make sense for things to kind of get lost in the shadows. I had to pause there for a second to think about something, but... Because that's just how we see it, because... The reason we see things is because of light. It's all light. So... When things get dark, you know, shadowed, in shadows... then we don't see as much detail because there's less light to see. So I'm never really afraid of just kind of letting things get lost in shadows. I think it actually looks quite nice when you do it right. So that's a little bit of what I'm thinking about here. Just which parts do I just kind of want to fade out to nothing? How do I want to go about doing that? And things are still pretty rough right now. Because, you know, when it comes down to it, this kind of structure still breaks my brain. So I do kind of have to think about how it actually works still. And now I'm just doing the next layer of that. Of just, okay, how are all these things connected? How am I putting them all together? And how do certain parts change as I go a little further down and the angle of things change a little bit? Or it's no longer sitting on her chest, but kind of fallen off of it. How does that change where things connect? And whatnot. It is a surprisingly complicated question, because art is hard. It is so hard. So very hard. And then I think I want to just, you know what? No, I don't, actually. But I think this kind of structure looks okay. I'm not sure if it's entirely accurate, but I think it looks okay. So I'm gonna roll with this. If only because I don't feel like thinking about it anymore. So, Now I want to focus on getting certain shapes just right. So I'm going to be cutting off certain things. You know how I said I want it to look like it's sitting on her chest here? And that's going to roll some of these pleats upward a little bit more? That's the kind of thing I want to capture at this point. I want to roll those pleats upward. So I'll be doing that. In the darkest color through the back right there. Currently, I'm just not satisfied with their level of rolling, you know? Be floofier. Please floof harder. Be so floofy I can't even believe it. And that is what I want now, and I think you should floof a little bit more too. Just come on up. Let us see deep inside. Show us your heart, little pleat. Okay. And so that's kind of what I'm thinking about there. This guy's not rolling, though. This guy's... he's there. He's just fine like that. I just want to roll some of those guys up a little higher. This will actually raise the fold here a little bit. But I think something like this is workable. Okay. Yeah, I think I can be pretty happy with this. Let this guy roll up a bit. Okay, let me check it. But yeah, I think it looks pretty alright. And soon I'll be able to finally get those silly little frills onto it. Now that I kind of got things down structurally, I think I actually do want to do the frills before I go in and render the whole thing, or do I? I actually don't have any translucent frills on the suit side, do I? I've got a couple on the dress side. You can see my little scribbles down here. Or we got the black part and then some little translucency here. But I think on this side I'm not going to do any translucent stuff. I'm just going to put in some lace and it'll be lovely and rose-shaped. To go with, you know, her little flower friend. So you know what? I do think I want to do the black part. I talked myself into it. Man, I'm going to be so happy when I'm done with this thing. Okay, let's get my colors. I'm terrified. Okay. So I made this part much narrower, so I gotta do a little bit of erasing here. I think it might be easier just to start over, honestly. Okay. So, first things first, I need to understand what it is that I'm trying to draw. And the basic idea is that there's just this little bit of trim running down the side here. So I'm actually going to draw in black where I think the trim is running, because I don't think it goes over here like I initially had it. Probably is a little bit running on the back here. But I think it does, with the way I have it drawn now, it does this. And this is where each one will connect. I'm not sure about here. Here is kind of nonsense, and I should probably figure that out. But let's start with this stuff. Because I think just knowing this much will make it easier to see, and thus easier to draw when the time comes. But yeah, I can see that I probably have a bit of work to do to actually properly figure this out. Like, how is this? How is this indeed? I think this is probably fine. Okay, I think I'm just gonna do this. Okay, so with this much information, I know that things start going back here. On the sides here. And I think this part is a little more shadowed. And this part is. And then just due to the nature of where this is, all of that will be in shadow. Okay, so let's start drawing some frills. I want them to be kind of flipped upward. So I'll draw it like this. I'll do square frills. I think square frills make sense here. And I think that square ones are a little bit easier to draw than rounder ones. Because you can just kind of do the same shape over and over again, and I find that to be a little bit more straightforward. Just, you know, personally. Okay, so just adding a little bit of a shape on there. I think I'm just gonna go in and get the basic shape going before I try to add my shadows and stuff. And I'm just gonna keep it simple. I'm not entirely convinced that this is all correct, but I think it's fine, if that makes sense. Like, I think people will look at this and they won't think anything is amiss. Even if things aren't necessarily connecting entirely properly. So, I'm just gonna call it fine. If this was on the face, I might actually, you know, spend a couple hours flailing to try to get it all right. But, you know, I think I'm okay with figuring out how weird neck things work 100% in a future study or drawing. I think I am genuinely okay with that. Maybe a little sad to say, but I want to focus my efforts in the right direction. And I want to be able to draw more pictures, so I think it's fine for such a minor detail to just be left at good enough here. Okay. So with that said, let's draw these little frills. Let's get them. And I think that this will be quite easy to understand when it comes time to actually shade it all. I can already see where I want to plop down the shadows, so that's a good sign. And I'll try to make sure there's no holes, just so I don't have to deal with that later, because that sounds terrible. I will be kind to future me today. And actually, before I start getting back into things, I want to kind of show where these all fold onto here. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I think this is working pretty well, so I'm just gonna keep going until the end here. And, you know what? Should have no trouble finishing Weird Neck Thing today. And get into something that's a little bit more exciting for me. You know, doing some more science in the hair, or making the adjustments that I want to on the face. For the face, I actually kind of want to try to adjust her nose a little bit more. I'm not quite sure if I'm happy with it. So, that is something I want to experiment a little bit more with. So I think once I'm done here, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go and just revisit the nose and see what I can do with it. But I'm thinking there, since, you know, there's not much to say about just drawing frills. They are frills. I just put them in, and just about any shape it generally works. So it's all good. It's all good. So it's just leaving me thinking about other parts of the picture, and right now that is the face. And in particular, the nose. Since it's been a little while since I've drawn a proper nose. And for that, what I'm thinking is right now it kind of goes all the way to the top, because that, you know, that's what noses generally do. They kind of go up, in the shadows of the nose kind of connect up into with your brow bone. Well, not the bone, but the shadows from the brow bone, I should say. And that is accurate and kind of what I have drawn here. But for stylization purposes, I think it feels a little bit weird still. So I'm hoping to kind of go back and revisit that and see if I can make it a little bit awkward. I'm thinking about just lessening the amounts of shadows in that area. So that's what I want to try. That is what I would like to try. And we'll see how it works. I'm kind of excited to take a stab at it. Should be a good time. You know, it's been a while since I've drawn a nose, so... And honestly, that's what's making a lot of this picture kind of exciting for me. I'm just trying a bunch of things. I don't really know how it's all going to turn out. But I'm very curious, and it's keeping me going through some of the slower parts like this. Where it's like, oh, you know, once I finish this part, I'm going to get to try a thing again, and that'll be great. And I'm kind of excited for it. I'm not actually quite sure how I want to shade all these, so I'm just kind of making something up. And I think this all looks fine. As long as it's clear that some of them are higher up than others, and they're kind of alternating which one's on top and which one's underneath, I think it'll look fine. Another case of what I was talking about earlier, where shadows kind of just lose a lot of their detail since there's less light to go around. Oh, I never fixed your edges here. So let's do that. Actually, you should... No, I have it right. All is well. Okay, there we go. That's a little better. That's a bit better. And now I can just get back into fixing up these frills. Right now, I think they're kind of ugly, but it's okay. That's what all these extra shadows are for, to make them nicer. And then the ones down here are just going to be completely shadowed, so I don't have to do any work on them, and that is always fantastic. So now I can just, you know, carry on. Okay. Oh, no, you should be light. So only this part. There we go. Had to think about that one for a second. This is one of those cases where it's easy to get into a bit of a trance. But that's just what rendering is like, you know? You just kinda turn the brain off for a second. Most of the decisions are already made, so you can just kind of roll with whatever you put down, and I mean, it can be fun. I have a good time with it sometimes, but you know, I have to say, I don't actually find drawing frills very especially fun and interesting, and yet I do it all the time. One of those kind of hilarious paradoxes. But man, it's like I don't think that they're fun, but man, do they look good when all is said and done. So I keep drawing them. I just can't say no to the lovely effect of having frills on things. But there we go, and I think that's fine. It's nice and sparkly. Let's go ahead and... Actually, I think I want to reduce the color of the glitter a little. There we go, nice and sparkly. And now, just a matter of smoothing out the rest. Just gonna do it with the hard brush for now. I'm not gonna do any soft brush stuff for the time being. That will come at the end. And, you know, a fun fact of... With the way I draw lately, I'd say a good 90% of my drawings, not this one, but most of them, only use the hard round brush. Like, I don't use anything else. And I think that they still look fantastic. Hard round brush is underappreciated, I tell ya. I don't know how it is in Clip Studio, but at least from my understanding of it, I'd probably draw most of my things using the G pen only. That's just kind of what I'm used to, and I don't know, it works for me. I like drawing like that. You really can't cheat anything when you draw like that. Yeah, I definitely want the darker one. You really can't. Everything is very particular when it's a little bit more, I don't know, I guess almost cel-shaded. Can't mess around. And it's taught me a lot. For anyone interested in learning how to draw, I highly recommend just any kind of a process challenge where you just try something you don't normally do. Hello there, Kuhaku. Welcome back. I was good and started with the neck thing like I said I would last week. I'm impressed that I did not allow myself to get distracted by some fixes I wanted to make to the face. sometimes I am able to just dig in and do the hard thing right away, and it feels good. Okay, I just want to make sure that all of these connect really well. So I want to get this line a little straighter and all the way down toward the edge of the frill. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I think that's all good. I don't watch TikTok, so I have no idea what you're talking about. But if you're talking about, but I can at least talk about, basic blending. Let's see. So you can see for a lot of things I do, when it comes to blending, I don't. Like, yeah, if let's take a look at the cape here. None of this is blended. This is all just a hard, round brush. But if we look at the hair, I kind of blended some things. And all I did is I took the airbrush here, and I just kind of drew over things until they looked nice. Like, I guess I can show you what I plan to do on the cape when the time comes. I don't want to keep this, but it's fine for now. I can do it as a quick science. So, at least something that I plan to do is I have my two colors here. They're both red. And then I just push the light color this way and the dark color this way, and I plop them on top of each other until the edge is gone. So it's just a soft brush with opacity. And now the edge is gone. Or it would if I kept doing it. And another thing I'm going to want to do is I'm not going to want this to be quite so stark here. So I'll take my airbrush and just kind of color over the edge. And keep going back and forth with my light color and dark color until I'm satisfied with how they turn. And that's it. That's all I do. I don't really think techniques are that important. There's really no secrets. Yeah, there's really no secrets to be found. You know, just try out your brushes. Because, like, I know some people... I just did it with the airbrush there, but, for some people, they might prefer a hard opacity brush as opposed to a soft one. And that gets you this kind of effect. Where you kind of go back and forth a bit until you're... You know, the pieces are all together. And this gives you a slightly different effect. It's a little bit more paint-like. And that kind of thing. I use basic 5 size, airbrush soft, and that's about it. Try them if you want, but brushes aren't really that important. At least not until you get to a stage where you're trying to speed up your process and not learn how to do it. Brushes will not help you until you know how to do things. So just stick, if you just want something to get started, stick with, a basic 5 size airbrush soft and maybe basic 2 opacity if you like the way it works, and then pick one textured brush that you think is cool. Not one of the stamps, but, you know, one of the more textured brushes, like, maybe you like this one. And for whatever reason, you just, like the effect it puts on things. Let me go back up to the cape, and you just like the textured effect that it has. Pick one, and then use only that. Then don't use a tutorial, just draw. Just grab your hard round brush and draw something. Hmm. It'll be easier once you do that, because then you'll have a picture and you can look at it. And you'll be like, okay, I like X, Y, and Z, and I don't like A, B, and C. And then you can say, okay, you know, try to put it into words. Why don't I like A, B, and C? And then you can look up tutorials on A, B, and C. And I know at the beginning it's like you hate everything, right? That's fine. That's why you have to insist on finding the 3 things you do like, or whatever. You know, at least one. One thing you do like. And then try to really narrow down what is the difference between what you see in your head and what you drew on the paper. Or you know, the pixels you drew on your digital canvas, as the case may be. And it requires a lot of thinking. It's hard, but it'll get you the best results. Alternatively, find an artist you like and steal and just copy them. If you don't want to go through and, you know, draw something on your own. And then you can look at what they did and be like, why does mine look worse? And try to find the points that are different. It can be a little bit easier to do when there's a clear thing that you're trying to copy. But yeah, there's no way around it. You just have to draw things. I don't think tutorials can really help people until they know what is wrong and what the difference is between what they're trying to do and what they're actually producing. But then you'll know what to search for, and you'll be able to find advice on that, and it'll be so much easier than just, you know, hoping that you can pull a good tutorial out of the ether. So yeah, stop watching tutorials and draw. Don't be a coward, man! Go do it! Don't need no stinking hand-holding! I actually kind of like this line, so I'm gonna keep it. Okay. Okay, let's see here. You know, now that I think about it, when I was learning how to draw, I don't think YouTube even existed yet. Wild. The internet was barely a thing. So, you know, maybe my takes are a bit boomer, but... I stand by it. There's no way around learning how to draw other than just going and drawing things and suffering. Everyone's had to do it. Art is hard. It is what it is. Let's see, I want this fold to be a little bit bigger. I'm gonna let him kind of stick out a little bit right there. I think that looks a little better. Okay. Yeah, and with that, I'm almost to the bottom. Awesome. I think this is all okay. I think I might make this guy down here stick out a little bit more. We'll just plop him kind of in like this. And then, this guy... add a little thing like that, and I don't know what I'm doing here, so I'm just gonna pretend like I do and put a shadow there. Sounds good to me. Sometimes you just gotta fake it. Okay. So just another little fold in there. I'll put another one right there because I can. And I think it looks pretty alright, and I think that side is pretty smooth now. Probably about as smooth as I care to get it. So let's go finish off the other side. For some reason I decided to do the top two and then stopped. That's fine. That's totally fine. Alright. I'm not happy with that edge, so let's clean that up a little bit. And then from there... Yeah, let's clean up some of the edges here. I think I'll add another little shadow here, just to kind of keep things symmetrical with the other side, so it hopefully makes a little bit more sense. Okay, there we go. Is that a hole or is that just a weird color? Okay, good. It's just a weird color. I think you're the right color. Yes, you are. Perfect. Okay, so now I can just put in the little cast shadows here from the little frill above it, and then plop in a fold there, and that should be it. Okay, cool. Just keeping things simple today. If only because I like the way this thing looks in terms of the character design, but I actually kind of don't want to draw it. But I'm being good and not being lazy, so I at least kind of got things into a fairly good state, where I think it's at least convincing and good enough tier. So I can just put in some convincing looking highlights and shadows and all should be well. Yeah, I think all is well. I think it looks fine. And I think the little bits of black actually look pretty nice there. I wonder if they'd look better red, though. No, they wouldn't, because there's too much red around. What about gold? I kind of want to try that. I know I just spent a bunch of time shading those frills, but... basically, I feel like right now it's drawing a little bit too much attention to itself. Because the contrast between the black frills and the white neck thing is really, really strong. So I'm thinking about lessening that contrast just a little bit. And an easy way to do that would be to use another color. And like I said, the red, there's too much red around there, so red doesn't look good. But the gold, I actually think looks kind of okay. So I'm gonna zoom out and kind of switch back and forth. So what's important here is that I wanted there to be glitter, and I was only putting glitter on the black parts up until now. I don't think that has to be true. I think I probably could put some glitter on the gold parts, but it's not gonna look very glittery like that. No, it's gotta be black. Okay. Well, I'm glad I decided to double check. But no, the black looks way better. Okay. But there we go. I did the neck thing. I have accomplished what I set out to do for today. I'll go mess around with the neck a little bit, I think. So let's see. Because I wanted to make sure that I had a little bit of some of these light areas kind of on the side here. And then we get a little bit of a cast shadow from up here. I don't actually think that this is accurate, but I think it looks better. So I'm gonna go with that. And yeah, I think I want the same on the back side here. Just everything through here. And once again, just a little bit going through there. But otherwise, I think that's good. I don't think it needs more than that. Until I blend it. Yeah, I think that's fine. So now let's go mess with the face a little bit again. I'm gonna do this on a new layer because I am scared and I don't want to mess up her nose if I decide I don't like this. So one of the things I've been worried about is, okay, this hard line going all the way up, should I soften it a little bit? And that is what I want to try right now. So I'm gonna try to just get rid of a little bit of the light there and kind of let this fade in and see if that makes her nose look a little bit better. So I don't know, I just thought it kind of stood out kind of weirdly when it was all, you know, like this. And while I think that this is maybe more anatomically correct, I think this is more what noses look like. I'm just not sure if that level of realism looks good with how cartoony some of her eyes and I guess how small the rest of the nose is. I am thinking about making the nose a little bit bigger, but this was actually the big thing that felt a little bit off to me. Of just, do I blend the nose in a little bit more? And you know what? I think the answer right now is yes. I think I like this. So let's make some adjustments to the nose here. Like I said, I was thinking about making it just a little bit bigger. So I will try that. Need to move it over a little bit too. Just realized it was kind of in a weird angle relative to her eyes. Probably wasn't helping me, feeling like the nose looks a little bit weird. Okay. I need to move all these together. There's no way around it. So let's adjust this nose just a little. And we'll see how I feel. That's the goal for now. Okay, so I'm kind of letting it show just a little bit more of the bottom there. Gotta roll this nostril in just a little. This is making her mouth look really off-center, so I'll have to fix that too. But I do think that this is sitting between her eyes a little bit better. So, you know, that's probably a sign that maybe the mouth is in fact a little off-center. I'll see where this takes me. And there will probably be a bit of canvas flip in here because I'm trying to get the distance between the two eyes looking a little bit better. I just feel like it's a little bit off with the other change that I made. I gotta hide the mouth. There's no way around it. It's gonna drive me crazy. I'll draw the highlight on the nose after. But the mouth is clearly just a little bit off-center, so... I gotta get the nose right before I go and fix that. See, this is the joy of layers. When you need to hide something and just get it out of the way because something's a little off, you can just do that. It feels good. So that looks pretty good to me. Okay. I'll let her have her mouth back now. So now I guess I should fix up where the mouth should be. I think a lot of that is a tilt, actually, but let's just get that on there. And I think part of it was just that the hair was covering part of her face, and that threw me off. So I was acting like this was the edge of her face, instead of the edge of her face being somewhere over here. Because that feels a little bit better. I want to tuck in the corner of the mouth a little bit, though. Just a little. Yeah, and that feels a little bit better to me. Let's fix the highlight on the nose now. This, I think I'll still keep a very hard little highlight. Hopefully I got the right color. Just plop it on the tip here and kind of let it go up. I probably didn't get the right color because there's blush on it. Let me hide the blush layer. I want to make sure it is not super red. Yes. Okay, let's try that again. Oh yeah, I just want a nice little light on the tip of her nose here. Okay. And from there, I can kind of clean up certain aspects of the head. I do like this, I think. I do think I like having that better. So I'm just going to keep it. I'm going to merge it. I'm committed now. And then I'll just, I don't know. Make the face look nice, I guess. Get everything just right. Until I am satisfied. And I'll probably go adjust this eyelid again. I don't think it's quite right. It's mostly right, but, you know, it's the face. I just got done doing something where I said, you know, it's not that it doesn't matter, but it's just not as important as a lot of other areas. No, here it's not the case. Nothing is more important than the face. Gotta have a good face. If you want to draw people, gotta be able to draw their faces well. So I'm just very carefully blending those together. I want it to fade to nothing so that it becomes unclear that there's a little bit of a shadow underneath her eye here. And then I just want to make some adjustments to just a little bit of light around the nose. I think such things will be very nice looking once I can get them right. Just a little bit more depth to her cheeks and stuff. And I don't think I want to fold through there. Like, it would make sense to have that, but I just don't think it looks good. I will put a little bit of a dark corner here, but I don't want it to be very strong, and I can already see that her face is starting to look a little bit wrinkly with the new shadows that I added. So I gotta kinda blend them out to nothing. I do not want her face to look wrinkly. Get just a little bit of light around the cheek here. I think this side should be a little bit harder. The side kind of by the nose, and then it kind of fades to nothing throughout over here. I'll probably blend it a bit more than this. But I'm just kind of getting the basics down. And then once they exist, I can just smooth it out. And it's super easy. Okay. I don't want that to be quite that hard, but I do like it a little bit harder than what I had. I think that looks pretty good. Smooth out that cheek a little, and how's this? Yeah, it looks pretty good now that I zoom out. It definitely looked a little bit strange when I was zoomed in, but I had to trust the process a little. And I did. Let's give her red cheeks and stuff back. Seems okay. Her neck looks super ultra thin because of the highlights I put on it, but I think I'll make that work later. I don't really want to blend all of that right now. So, I guess that leaves me able to go do my hair science again. Yay! Oh wait, no, I want to mess with the eyelid a little bit first. Let's do that. I have a particular shape I would like to try. Okay, so like there, and then with the way I have the makeup here, I kind of want to fade out the corner right there. So I just turned the brush into an eraser, and I think for the rest, I'm going to use the smudge tool just a little bit. And just kind of pull it. I just kind of want to fade out this corner until it disappears. And then I would also like to take this top bit here and draw on top of the crease that I got in there. So I'm going to take this to be a lighter color, make the crease a little bit smaller, and then erase. And that's kind of what I wanted to try. I don't want the makeup to be super strong on this one. It'll be a little bit stronger on the next one, on the dress side. But for the suit side, I think a part of the appeal of women in suits is to be a little bit more masculine. So I don't want to go quite as hard on certain feminine traits. I still want it to be there a little, though, so I'm gonna go kind of put some of it back. And then, you know, I'll probably do another round of erasing on the top there. But I don't think I can get it all looking quite right until I do this. Okay. There we go. Okay, let's see. Not bad, but the corner. Let's fix the corner. Yeah, there we go. I think that's pretty good. Still kind of has the smoky effect that I wanted, but it's just not quite as strong. And I think that's great. So I think her nose looks a lot better with the bridge up here being a little bit less visible. I know it looks a little bit more like it's coming out of nowhere now. I think I actually have it a little bit crooked again. Well, no, I think it's her eyes that are a little bit crooked, actually. Maybe that's why I wanted to work on the eyes a little bit, too. Unfortunately, this means I have to liquefy a bunch of things, but that's fine. I can do that. So, fix the eye bag just a little bit here. Push up the eyelid just a little bit. Since the eyes got rotated so much. Okay. Let me check the balance. Better. Yes, indeed. Okay. I'm gonna call that good for now. We'll see how I feel about it next week, because, you know, as always, sometimes, I can always seem to find something just a little bit off, but that's just the nature of human faces. Unironically, it is. People are very particular about their faces. Because we just, as a species, look at them so much and kind of know what to expect. So when they're even a little bit off, it feels a bit weird. Okay. So now I'm just gonna kind of blend this a little bit more. And I'll be going down the hair. This is basically what I did for the top hair up here. So I'm just doing it again down here, more or less. Until I'm happy. It's probably gonna take a while. I'm not even sure if I'll finish it today. It is what it is. Yeah, that's not the right color for that. Okay, I do kind of want to keep that on there, though. But I should get something pretty nice looking by the time I'm done, and I'm gonna try to stay out of the black areas as much as I can. It'll be hard, but I want to try. Okay, I gotta be able to switch colors if I want to do this properly. Because I need to be able to get these guys down in here too. And just kind of fade out some of the tips. And that's about it. Oh wait, I don't have the layer locked. That's a problem. Wait, I should have the layer locked. Why are you not, Oh, I'm drawing on the wrong layer. Terrifying. I better undo all that then. I do it all the time. It is deeply unfortunate. Okay, looks like I got it all. Let's go to the right layer. Herp-a-derp. Oh well. Let's try that again. So let's see, I did blend a little bit up there. I guess I should redo that first. Otherwise, I will be sad. Okay. So the main goal here is, if you look at the difference from where I got started last time, so between this guy and this guy, you'll see that I have kind of some of the shadows kind of blended in a little bit more there. You can still see a lot of it, but especially in the areas up by the highlight, the shadows are a little bit lighter. And that's all I'm really trying to do here. Just make certain things a little bit less stark. So fading out the tips of some of them. Kinda making the areas by the highlights a little bit less strong. And I'm doing all this on a separate layers, just so this way if I mess it up, or if I decide I don't like it later, I can go and undo it. Because this is all science as far as I'm concerned. I did it on a couple just to make sure that I liked it, and I do kind of like the effect here, so I'm gonna go down and do it to the rest of them. But I did want to make sure that I actually liked what I was doing before I got too deep into it. Because, oh man, if I change my mind after spending like an hour just going individually through all these hairs and hair groups, oh, that would... It would be terrible if I decided I didn't like it and then had to redo the entire hair. Like, that would suck. That would be really, really terrible. And that's one of the best uses of layers, in my opinion. Just making it so that this way, if you're not confident, you can try something, and it won't be the end of the world if it doesn't work out. So that is why I'm using another layer for that. Nothing mystical about it. I just want to be able to fuck it up. Alright. And then some of these I'm keeping a little harder than others, so this one is a little bit thicker. So I'm picturing the hair rolling a little bit more here, so I'm blending it in a bit more. I'll keep this side hard, though. And the way to figure out what to do there, I consider it mostly intuition-based, but the way you develop that intuition is you look at a lot of things, and you draw a lot of things. And after a while, you just kinda know. But before you develop that intuition, the best way to know which parts should be a little more thoroughly blended and which parts should have harder shadows is just to look at references. Whether it be, you know, artists you like or actual photo reference. With Google, it's so easy now. It's so nice. The power of the information age. It's wonderful, I tell you. I am firmly of the opinion that the internet does more good than bad. Oh yeah, that's all I'm doing. And then I'll go down and then I'll probably do another pass where I take some of these really dark areas and roll it into everything else and... But I like where this is going. So I'm gonna keep going, and, you know, once it's all said and done, I'll probably add a few loose strands here and there. Maybe add a few places where the black kinda seeps into the white and vice versa. Well, we'll see what I want to do. We shall see. No, that one I want to be hard. I might fade it out right here, but not on the rest of it. You can see there, on that one I just tried it, and I knew immediately the second I started blending it in. I was just like, oh god, that is not what I want to do. Okay, so here I don't have as many highlights, so I'm gonna ease up on the blending just a little. There are some parts I still want to keep nice and blended, though. Just make everything just a little bit softer. Just a little. Nothing too serious. Because I still want to keep all those nice edges there. I think they look nice. Okay. I think I just want this entire side to be just a little darker. Just the whole thing. And it's nice because I can pretty easily do stuff like that. Just kind of fade out the tips. And then decide which areas I kind of want to just make a little bit softer. Just right here. Like this line I want to keep pretty hard. But this little bit right here I want to be just a little bit softer. And I still remember looking through the artist that I've been kind of referencing for all this. And I'm just... using it as suggestions. But I'm still amazed by the sheer number of hard edges in a lot of his work. Even though it all looks so soft, most of the edges are actually quite hard. So that was interesting to see. And I do think that... Oh, I don't have this. Okay. I didn't have it clipped to the layer below anyway. But I think actually seeing it for myself and just deeply analyzing that and being able to figure out that some of his edges were just really, really soft, or really, really hard, when his entire style just looks extremely soft to me. That was big. It was very big, because it meant I didn't really need to change my process very much. Like, my hard edges weren't a problem. It was just figuring out which ones to kind of soften up a little bit. And I think I'm getting there. It might take me a couple of tries to really get it right. That's fine. I plan to be drawn more than one picture after this, so... So it'll be fine. I've got time to figure it out. And someday I'm pretty sure I will, and I doubt I'll ever settle on a singular style, but I'll be able to kind of express things in a few different ways, depending on what I think suits the kind of feeling that I want each picture to give. That's why I like expanding my arsenal in terms of stylistic shenanigans. I think they're very fun. Okay, and I'm gonna do the tips later. So for now, I'm gonna go back to the top, and we're gonna do it all again! Are you ready? I'm not, but... You know, what can you do? So now I want to get the darkest colors. So that'll be this guy and this guy. And I kinda want to bring them together a little bit more. I'm trying to think. What do braids look like anyway? How soft should this be? I think it should actually be pretty hard. But I think what I want to do is just extend a few strands into these dark parts. Because right now, I just feel like it looks a little bit too much like random clumps, and I kind of don't like it. So, I'm gonna try something like this, and see what it does. Maybe I should do it on a new layer. You know what? I think I will. If I can't go all the way back, that's fine. I think this one looks okay. But I'm scared, so I'm just gonna do it up here. Because I don't quite know what to expect from this effect. Because this could go well, or it could go very poorly. Actually, that's true for pretty much any bit of science. It either goes well or it goes bad. Like, that's not saying much. So yeah, I'll give it a try. You know, so far so good. I kind of like this. Or we just got a little bit more of a gradation going in there. And I think it'll look especially good once I'm able to turn some of these guys back on. I might actually turn this into a multiply layer. Maybe. But we'll see how I feel about it. But for now, it's blending time. Save me. Okay. But yeah, I kind of dig it. Just all these little guys having a little bit more together. Being a little bit more hair-like in a few places. I'm gonna have to change the color for this one, though. We'll just let some hairs escape containment. It'll be great. And then just kind of all roll into these shadows here. And I'll treat it with the utmost care. Anime hair is a big deal. So I want to make sure it looks really nice. All I'm really doing is dragging my airbrush through this. That's it. This guy, I think, can actually be quite soft. This is just kind of a gentle cast shadow from the hair. And I think it actually is quite gentle here because the light's coming from behind her, so there's not actually that much casting going on. I just have it there because I like having the separation between the head and the hair here. I don't actually think it makes much sense to have the shadow there. I just don't care. So I think softening it up will help that. Right now it's acting more like a line between the head and the hair. So we'll just kind of soften it up a bit, so this way the shadow itself doesn't call much attention to itself. And we'll just act as a nice barrier between the hair and the head. That's all I really want for it. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I like where this is going. It'll probably be a lot easier if I include the black areas as I go through it. So, yes, I'm doing that. I'll have to be picking colors a lot, which I always hate doing, but it is what it is. I can make it work. So we'll let the colors kind of bleed into each other a little bit. I do have a little bit of blending here, so I'll take it off for now just so I can pick accurate colors. Why is the color so different? This suggests that I have something going on top. I have that on. Okay. That explains it. It does. Okay. I do like where this is going, though. I do. I like it a lot. It's gonna take an eternity to finish this, though, but oh well. This particular drawing is all about trying something. So I feel like if I don't try it, I am totally defeating the purpose of making this in the first place. That's okay. You know, let's go try it. I don't think I actually want that to bleed in there quite like that, so... I gotta be careful. Gotta be very careful. It's easy to kind of overdo it, but I want to keep these very separate. I just want to have some little bits of hair kind of coming through here. I just don't want it to be quite so perfect. Right now it's really, really perfect. And it's making it look a bit less hair-like to me. Okay, yeah, that's pretty good. And someday I'll get to the bottom. But yeah, I like this. And I liked what I was doing on the other one too. I haven't done it on the black ones yet, but I'll go do that once I finish what I'm doing here. You know what? No, I think I'm gonna do it first, actually. I'm just gonna go get these guys now. And we'll just blend everything all the way through. Take it nice and easy on everything today. And I think some of these areas will have stronger lights than others, and that's fine. I just want some of this to look a little bit more gentle. Hair should be soft, you know? Okay. Yeah, and I'll just do this all the way down again. I guess I'll start with up here, which means I'll need a slightly different color there. That's all good. Because all of the colors up on the top here are a little bit lighter than their counterpoints further down, since, you know, there's the light source coming right there. And I'll just blend in some of these guys right here. I think the white side is already looking pretty alright. I guess yeah, already have those there, and... did I not do the top ones? You know, I don't think I did, actually. I was looking at them, and I'm like, do I need any work on these? But I don't think I do. I might do it a little bit with the part here, but that's what this layer was for. So, yeah, I think we're good on those ones still, but I don't think I actually did anything to them. I had to think about that for a second. I kind of dig this because it also lets me get a few more colors in there for free. Okay. I think I want this part to be a little bit softer than the others. Otherwise, I think that this is pretty okay. Just lightly blending in that bottom part a little bit more, and you know, we can carry on. I actually wasn't planning on doing the black bits until later, but I don't know. I guess now's a good time as any. Just being careful not to bleed into the white parts. Two-toned hair just always complicates things so much. I'm glad that mine, as anime hair goes, just makes no sense as hair. It just meant to look like a light. And I like it. It's so easy to draw. I can do it in like 5 seconds. Beautiful. Don't have to pull any shenanigans to make it look nice. Let's flop down the blue. Then, put in bright color, and man, it just looks like my hair. Super easy. I actually designed it like that on purpose because I knew I'd be drawing this character a lot. So I wanted to keep things pretty simple, and I also wanted to make it easy for beginners to draw me. So a lot of the features and stuff are very simple and arbitrary. Like, if you draw a cloud pattern, as long as it's vaguely cloud-like, it'll look like clouds. So there's no, like, a really strong patterning or anything on it. It's just a very, very simple. And that was very much intentional on my part. I didn't want people to have a hard time when they tried to draw me. Okay. Man, I think we're about halfway there. God. There's so much hair. I really do look forward to it being done. I mean, I don't hate drawing hair, but it just feels like it is the most time-consuming part of my entire process. And every time, I'm just like... I told myself today, you know, maybe I can finish the hair. Yeah, I don't have that much left to do, right? It'll be fine. I can set a goal for hair finishing today. But, you know, I caught myself this time, and I was like, dude, there's no way you're gonna finish the hair today. Not if you want to draw literally anything else. Maybe if it was the only thing you did the entire time. Maybe. And only then, maybe, could you finish it, but... So I did something a little bit more sane and said I just want to finish the neck thing. And then we'll do as much hair as I can, and maybe we'll finish the hair next week. I am starting to learn that once I get done with the hair, the picture's basically done. And the hair is one of the first things I do. So, the hair and the face. Once I get those two things done, the rest is just... It's basically done. The rest is basically free. Assuming, you know, I have, the arms drawn. Not smooth, just their location is correct and I don't have to be flailing around to move them around anymore. And it's alright. I think anime hair looks really nice, so I don't mind spending a bunch of time just getting it to look nice. I think it's worth it. But oh god, am I so happy when it's done. Oh! Hello there, This is the first time I've been raided. So, hello everyone! I only recently started streaming to Twitch. So, happy to meet you all. I am Planckera. It is going well. It's been going great. Thank you for raiding me, Zone-sama. So, I am just drawing Katya Sable of a Variance project. She's a small VTuber, Variance project, a lore-heavy VTuber group, and I like them a lot. For me as Planckera, I just do a lot of drawing, and on Thursday, I recently started doing some game dev streams. So, that is what I do. So today, we're just drawing some fan art. So, welcome on in. And right now, I am drawing hair. Let's see, game dev. I am working in Godot. And I am making a factory building Metroidvania, basically. Where in most Metroidvanias, your abilities are relatively fixed. And the basic idea here is that rather than just having, say, a set movement speed, you are also building a factory on the side in order to optimize such things. So your speed will be... Oh man, I wish. No, I am not quite skilled enough at programming to make a factory that makes Metroidvanias. But... But yeah, the idea was born from playing a few factory building games and being a little bit sad that the end game of any factory building game is essentially vaporizing all your resources into science, so that this way you can unlock more things to build. So in this case, we decided, rather than doing that, your resources are being funneled into your stats. So you can run faster, jump higher, attack better, get enough HP that you can run through lava. That kind of thing. So that is the goal there. Yeah, we're hoping so. So at this point, I've started the player character. We can run and jump, and next stream is going to be about implementing some of the factory mechanics. At least some of the basic stuff. Right now, we're just trying to get a basic proof of concept down to make sure it's actually as fun as we think it will be. And as for what I'm doing here, you know, braids are certainly something else. I don't think they're that bad. At least, you know, it... Yeah. I don't think braids are too bad. But I draw slowly in general, and I always take my sweet time on hair because I think it's really important. And to complicate matters further, I am trying new things here. So I'm not quite sure how it's all going to shake out. But yeah, so far, Programming End is going really well. I thought that it went quite well. And I mean, I've been a software developer professionally for years. I just haven't worked with graphics very much. So that is where the challenge is going to come in. But right now, everything is super placeholder, and you know that's all well and good. Making everything shiny will come later. Gotta do one thing at a time. Well, yeah, if any of you guys have questions on art, what I'm doing, or if you want to draw yourself, you know, feel free to ask me whatever. Otherwise, I can just kinda draw stuff. Roll with whatever comes to mind, what I happen to be doing at the moment, which right now is lots of fine blending. Making everything nice and smooth. I will do your thing, and I hope your stream went well too. It was nice meeting you today. Understandable. Good luck. I hope you sleep well. Or at least rest well. If you're not actually going to bed. And thank you. So far, I think it's going great. I really like some of the new things I've been able to do with this one. Here, let me finish this little braid bit, and I will zoom out so you guys can actually see the picture, and I can talk a little bit about what I've been doing. But I am almost done with this little bit here, so I'll just finish that up real quick. Oh, thank you. That one was it was actually pretty weird getting that to work. So, but okay. So yes, thank you. I'm glad that you like all the work that I've been putting into things. It's always really nice to see. And really nice to hear. And I'm glad you're all here with me today. Okay, so that's probably good for now, so I'll zoom out. Let me go turn on my other layers real quick. But yeah, this is what we got right now. When I got the urge to do a character design, and I was like, let's draw a design for this VTuber that I like. And I couldn't decide if I wanted to put her in something more of a suit-like thing or a dress-like thing. So I was like, screw it, I'll do both. So I did both. And I'm starting with this side because this side has legs. So this will force me to more clearly define where the legs are, so that this way, when I mirror everything to the other side, I will have a better idea of where I should put the shadows and the dress and various things like that. So that is why this side is being done first. Because there are legs. But they are going to be pretty much mirror images of each other. And I will be finishing up this side after I finish everything on this side. This side is basically all drawn. I just need to smooth it out and make it all pretty. And it's been getting there. The hair always takes the longest. That's just been a universal truth for as long as I've been drawing anime girls, because anime girl hair is something else. I mean, I feel like every anime girl must have at least probably like 33% of their body weight in hair. Otherwise, they're not proper anime girls. And I mean, as anime girls go, Katya doesn't have that much hair, but there's still quite a lot. Quite a lot. So, you know, I'm just gradually working my way through it. I've already done the upper bit of hair here, so now I'm just getting this braid. And I'll worry about the little fluffy tips at the end, at the very end. Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, that's the basic idea there. I might mess with her expression a little bit more. I'm not quite sure if she's looking smarmy enough, but right now, it's just all hair all the time, and I will probably be trapped in hair hell for quite a while. Okay, next layer. So that bit was just to kind of soften up my dark versus light transitions. I had it drawn like this first, and then I just plopped a little guy here to kind of blend it out a little bit. And now I'm kind of making it so this way where it all enters into the, I don't know, gaps, the crevice between the braids where they all kind of overlap is a little bit more hair-like and a little bit less, I don't know, like this shape in particular, it just doesn't feel like this is going into that crevice to me. So then I just plop that on there, and that's what I'm doing next. So most of the time when I draw these things, I use a lot more hard edges. So, you know, kind of like what you see in the cape here. Like, if I was drawing normally, would probably be just how it would look, and I may or may not have those highlights. But right now, I just wanted to experiment with something a little bit softer, so I decided to reference an artist that I like. I really, really like the art in Path to Nowhere, so I decided to kind of reference what he was doing and what makes me like the art here and try to incorporate some of those techniques into what I've been doing here. So far, I think it's going quite well. I really like the way this all looks so far. So, you know, it's just a matter of getting all that, all those points blended in, and it just takes time. can't really speed through it if you want it to look good. And so that's probably what I'll be doing for a while. Just very, very slowly working my way through. And I'm a little bit of a slow artist to begin with. But I do the best I can. So I have to ask, all of you out there, do any of you draw? And what do you like to draw? For me, I mostly draw people, but lately I've been really interested in drawing scenes, I guess you could say. So, more than just the people, but people actually doing things. This one is actually really simple compared to a lot of the stuff I've been doing lately. Because I just kind of wanted to focus on some of the stylistic things I wanted to experiment with. Well, singing's a pretty good talent. I personally cannot, so I always appreciate people that can. Actually, that's a point of... But yeah, that's a point of, you know, I don't think you have to be able to do the craft yourself to appreciate other people doing it. In fact, I think it's probably better that way to some extent. Because, you know, people want to show off the things they can do. People want to make cool things. And there's only so much stuff that can be made and only so much stuff that can be appreciated. So, I like seeing what other people do that I can't. I think it's really cool. Exactly. I mean, it's the same with drawing. Unfortunately, there's just only so many hours in the day. And you kind of have to pick and choose what you do. But I think it's okay. I will enjoy the people that can sing. And I will appreciate the things that they do sing. And I have other things that I'm more interested in doing myself, so... I just hope that, you know, even the people that can't draw can appreciate some of the stuff that I make as well. Yes, exactly. Okay, so let's see, from here... I want to be careful with the shadows in this area, because the light source is all from the window behind her here. So, I want to keep things very light, because this hair is basically purely in light. So I think I can even get away with putting a few lights into the shadows here. And just keep this entire area just a little bit lighter. Don't want to overdo that. I want to make sure that the creases in the hair are still pretty dark. But since this area is just all in light, just totally engulfed with it, I can keep certain areas here a little bit lighter than I would in the others. That tends to be how I see most things. It makes me have a bit of a wild drawing process, but I found it very effective because I had trouble seeing things in contours and lines, as most people do. Or at least as most people seem to when I watch people draw, you know, where you start with a line-based sketch and stuff. I just go right into painting, basically. And that's strictly because I just found it easier to see things in light as opposed to contours and volumes and stuff. So I tend to think pretty hard about where I'm gonna plop lights and stuff. Let's see. I think that this is okay. I think I want this guy to come out into here just a little bit, but other than that, I think he's fine. Yeah, that looks pretty nice. And so a lot of these is just going to be very simple, gradual changes built up on each other. And that's what makes my art process just a little bit slow. But I've been having an absolute blast drawing this one. It's been such a delight to work on the entire time. Now, there were some points where I did get a little frustrated with things, but nah, it's all good. That's normal. Art is just hard. Let's see. Let's see. I don't want to do too much blending with the cast shadow from this flower here, so I think I'll actually just leave that one like that. I want to keep that line nice and sharp. But I will go ahead and start sending a few strands from this into here. So with the way that I have this sitting on her shoulder here, I'm picturing the pleats on the right here being on top of the pleats on the left. So that's informing which areas I blend a little bit harder. So in this case, I didn't want this black part to get too deep into things. So I will be letting it go a little bit deeper into everything on this side, because now the black side is actually on top. So just gonna try to make all that a little bit more strandy. See where it all goes. Let's see, I don't quite like that, so let's pull that back just a little bit here. There we go, that looks better. A lot of it is very small changes. I've had a few people come here and ask me just how you know these things, and it really just comes down to messing it up a lot. Where, after a while, you just kind of get a feel for where things go and how things should be shaped. And gradually, it just starts making more and more sense. And man, I actually really already do like the difference here, because now everything feels so much more intertwined. Just turning that on and off, the difference is huge in my opinion. Normally when I draw braids or anything really, it's all much more simplified. And I do like the simplicity. But I'm just trying to add one more option to my arsenal here. I swear to God, I will never decide on one art style. I just don't think that's ever gonna happen. I like doing too many things, and I like being able to do lots of things, and just change up whatever art style I am doing at the moment to whatever I think suits the type of picture I'm trying to draw. I like it a lot. I guess I can pull up some of my other stuff real quick. Let's see. I don't know. What's a good example? Like, what's something that I drew a while back that I really like? Something that I think encapsulates what I would call my quote-unquote usual style right now. Yeah, I guess the most recent drawing I did was okay. This is what this is from another VTuber in the same group here. The picture I did for her birthday. I like it quite a lot. So this is closer to what I would normally do. So very, very hard edges, more cell shaded. And, you know, full scenery, more complicated pose, all that kind of stuff. Whereas this one, I kind of simplified other areas down just a little bit. Where here, it's more about, okay, I kept the pose really, really simple, I kept the lighting scheme really, really simple, so that this way, I could try something a little bit softer in terms of shading. And then, the other kind of thing that I really like to do... Actually, let's do a different thing that I really like to do. I have this, one drawing of Crony that I did a while back that I still like. Let me open it up here. The file is huge, so it might take a second. I draw in very large canvases with many, many layers, so the files get big. But yeah, I wanted this one to look like stained glass, so I went with that, and... Not the first time I did it, but... Thank you. Yeah, I like the look here. This is also the similar style I did for the header and my Twitch and YouTube page and that kind of thing. But I want to do more like that as well. And then I also do like raw, very, very simple minimalist stuff. I'm trying to find one that I like that I didn't draw in an hour for Inktober. I guess I do have a few kind of cool Inktober ones, but... Yeah, sure. You know what? That one actually looks okay, so... Let's pull out that one. But you can get some kind of interesting atmosphere when you draw in only black and white. Can I remember where I put it? I think it's here. Was that... I think that was 2024. Yeah, if I can remember what day it was. Yes, here we are. So yeah, stuff like this. Where it's just, you know, extremely simple, relies heavily on silhouettes and other kind of weird things, and you can get cool effects. Moons make everything better. So, there we go. That's probably closer to what I normally do. So now I'm going a little bit further in the other direction. Of instead of simplifying things further, I'm making it more complicated. Because I think there's a place for just something a little bit softer and more detailed. Something maybe even a little bit more painterly. This is closer to what I used to do in the past. I think this is, like, way better than anything I used to do in the past, but... pretty much everything I drew used to be soft at one point. In fact, when I was starting with art, I was actually trying to go deep into semi-realism. So, that was where I started, and I don't remember when I started simplifying things more, but... I do like that end too. Choices are hard, so that's why I haven't been choosing. I'll just keep doing whatever I want and whatever I think suits each individual piece, and I will keep just trying new things. I think it's a good way to be. This is why I get nervous whenever people talk about inconsistent art styles being a sign of AI usage. I will never have a consistent art style, it's fine. I don't necessarily want a totally consistent art style. I like doing a bunch of different things. You can express a lot of different things with just the way you change certain colors and shapes, and I think it's really amazing. I like it a lot. And that's just one of my personal art fascinations. Just how much you can change things. Oh, you know what? That's actually a point. I can, I did one where I drew the same image in 3 different styles. Let me see if I can find that. I think it'll just be here. Yeah. So, for this one, once it decides to open, I just went all the way. I went with, you know, use as few colors as possible. We're gonna do this all in black and white up to something softer, a little bit more on the realism scale. Like, she has a nose. So, and all of this was literally, I tried to copy and paste things as much as I could in order to keep it as similar as possible so I could figure out how stylistic changes would change things and how I would have to change things here. So, a few things that stand out. Her hair on the middle one. When I raised it up to the top, she had so much hair, I had to erase about half of it and redraw certain parts in order to make it look like she wasn't just being devoured. And then in the background here, I had these kind of horizontal lines and dots. But on the raw minimalist one, it didn't look good being horizontal, so I had to make it angled. So that was interesting, and so this was one that was quite fun to draw. Anyway, I should get back into hair a bit here. Let's see. Yeah, I was trying to get the lighter parts to dig into the darker parts here. And go from there. So I probably want a little bit of this guy to dig into here as well. So let's just add a couple of lines here and there. Looks like I'm about halfway through this part. Hair. It'll never let me leave. It'll never let me go. Every time I think I'm getting near the end, it's like I always notice a thing or two that I want to change or that I missed. There we go, those look like they're a little bit more kind of entwined now, I think. I think this will also look really nice once I add a few more loose strands. So, like, I've got this one loose strand here that I put down for reasons I don't remember. And I think once I do some more of that with the rest of it, it'll look quite nice. I always get just all kinds of plans when I'm going through and doing hair, just because it takes a while to get through it all. So not only does it take a long time to get through it all, but it is kind of brain dead too. Lots of little repeated strokes, lots of little things happening that don't really require that much thought. So, oh man. So my mind just starts to wander all over the place because it's got nothing better to think about right now. So I just get all kinds of little ideas for things I want to try and other things I want to do. Let's see, I think I want some of this to cut in here just a little bit. Just a little. I think this one is just ever so slightly on top. So we'll let them kind of merge together a little bit. Yeah, there we go. I think that looks pretty okay. And I'll put just another little spot up there and let this guy dig in just a touch right there. Just a touch. Okay. Yeah, and those look all pretty well together now. So let's extend the lighter areas from this guy. I think this is one of those things that's really easy to overdo. I still want to keep the shapes between each bit of hair very strong, so I don't want them to meld together too hard. The idea is just to make them look a little more woven. And not much more than that. That's why I say it's really easy to overdo it. Sometimes I wonder if I should be using the airbrush for this, but I don't want it to be that hard either. I want them to kind of blend in with each other. Yeah, there we go. And I think that looks pretty well connected now, so I'll just move on to the next one. Hand is cramping up a little bit, but I'm having to press pretty hard in order to get the edge that I want. When you press really soft with the airbrush, it gets you a really low opacity, soft edge, which is why I was questioning whether or not the airbrush is what I want to be using for this, but I think it is. Just kind of gotta deal with the downsides. So I'll send this side up a little higher. There we go. And this guy, I don't think I need anything on the side, but I will extend this strand out just a little bit. And yeah, there we go. Now it's all kind of extended in there. I will just soften this edge just a little bit, but I don't really want it to start extending into things here. This one is supposed to be below this one. But I just want to make that edge just a little bit softer and extend this out just a little bit further. Have to be careful there. The edge can get a little ambiguous if I go too hard. I want to check to make sure I did the rest of these right. No, I think they're all looking good. I was just realizing as I was getting to the bottom that I was figuring out a thing or two. And I wanted to make sure that there was nothing I wanted to apply back to the top. But no, I think the top looks fine. So all is well. Extend this guy into here just a little bit. And I'll do this one before I do the black one behind it. No, I don't think I want anything there, so I think that's actually perfect. And we'll just go down into here. And this guy, I think, will weave into here, because this one is on the right and therefore on top. Gotta let it just kind of roll all the way around. Put a black spot in there. I think that'll look pretty good. Yes. And now it looks a little bit more woven together, I think. Do the same right through there. Okay. And yeah, it's just nice because gradually they're starting to look like less and less like separate little pleats. And that's just what I wanted out of all this. I want them to look like they all belong together. Okay, and now that we're almost at the bottom here, I am almost out of time here, so I think once I get to the bottom of these, of the braid here, sans little strands at the bottom there, I think that'll be where I have to end, unfortunately. But, you know, I'm glad that you were all here with me today. So I'll start winding things down. Just get those last few little strands here. Let's see, this one should come into here just a little bit. And I'll let this guy come into here. I kind of want to keep the shadows a little bit lost through there, so I won't try that hard. But there we go. I think that is all fairly interconnected here. And so, hopefully in theory, once I add some of my other little shadows on there, I was thinking about making this one set to multiply instead, which I think I will. I do think that looks a little bit better. I will have to change the shape of all that, though. But yeah, I'll go ahead and leave that there, and that's with all the layers on, and I think it's looking pretty good. So, for further plans, I still have a little bit more I want to do with this, and I want to kind of blend in the bottom of the highlights like I did on the rest of her hair up here, and then maybe add a few little bits of reflected light. I know at some point, I want to add some of the surrounding colors to the white parts, especially. So, you know, a little bit of red through here, a little bit of gold through here, that kind of thing. But I don't really want to do that until closer to the end, when I know what colors will actually be there and which areas I think should be reflecting a little bit more. But on her main hair, I do have, you know, some of these little tiny highlights here, a little bit of reflected light through here and that kind of thing. I do plan to add that, so next time will probably be more hair for most of it. Because hair is very time consuming. But you know, once the hair is done, the rest is gonna be smooth sailing, man. I think the hardest things I gotta do after that is just draw a couple of hands, and the hands are not that big a deal. But this is where I will stop for today. So thank you all for coming, and I hope you're able to make something wonderful today. I hope to see you next week for Thursday for a game dev stream. We're gonna make the factory elements. It'll be great. Gotta be able to build the factory. I'm actually really looking forward to that. I'm gonna be thinking about the exact implementation later today, actually. So, all right. Well, I hope to see you all later. Have a wonderful rest of your day.